Hey everybody on Facebook. This is Pat Mancuso, the Director of Sales for the Bold team, and I am here today on our Facebook Live webinar with two incredibly talented individuals. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be with Missy Webb and Larry Miller. Hey guys.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, I'm so glad we got technology working the right way, and welcome. And we are live on our private Facebook group. We are so excited you're here today. We're going to have a great conversation around Bold and the new Bold and your experiences around Bold. And yet, before we get started, what I'd like to do is have you all introduce yourselves. Talk to us a little bit about your Bold journey, how many times you've been to Bold, where your production started, anything you want to share in the intro here. Missy, let's start with you.
Hi, thanks, Pat. I'm glad to be here. My name is Missy Webb. I'm in the Oklahoma City area, and my Bold journey started in October 2016. And I took it for the first time in October. I closed out that year with 21 units. And then in 2017, we did 56, and I started building a team because I needed some help. And then last year we closed out with 98.
Fantastic. So how many times have you taken Bold in that time period?
6 times.
6 times. And so you went from basically 21 units, which in that time period, that's not bad. And you went from 21 to nearly 100. That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And what's your business looking like, Missy, this year? Where do you think you're going to end up?
I think we're going to end up right around 110 this year.
Awesome. And you've been to Bold this year in the new Bold.
Yes, I took Bold Labs twice.
Oh, we're going to talk to you about that. Those Bold Labs, that shirt. I love it. I love it. Larry, talk to us. Tell us about your journey in Bold. Larry, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, the internet connection is not the best for some reason all of a sudden. But
you just talk, Larry, and we'll fill in anything that they don't hear. We'll just go with it.
So perfect. Listen, so since 2013 is when I joined KW, I've attended Bold 7 times. Most recently, back in July. So attended 7 times. Before taking Bold, kind of plateaued, kind of a ceiling of achievement at about 30 deals on my own. After taking Bold and understanding leverage and just the importance of that, just going through the Bold strategies and following their program, started to implement leverage with an admin. $93 transactions with 35 million in production. And last year we were at 137 total and right at 31 million.
So basically your trajectory, Larry, from what I could fill in there is you started at 30 deals and last year now 137 deals in that Bold journey.
Yeah.
You've been there 7 times.
Yes.
And you've gone through the lab, is that correct as well?
No, we did not go through the lab.
Okay. And you're getting ready to, though, I'm assuming, correct?
Yeah.
Hint, hint, of course, right? So guys, let's talk. And Missy, I want to start with you. And before I do, though, I'd like to share with everybody that's watching or going to watch this, the October launches, we're in historical territory here. So in October, we are going to launch 139. We're working towards 140, 140 locations in the US and in Canada. Now we expect that 140 locations is going to push us over the 11,000 registration mark, which has never happened before in any Bold launch. So we're talking about being a part of historical, really, perspective. So Missy, you've been to the Bold Labs twice, and we're out of the labs now. And so some people have asked, how has Bold been different? And what I would say, first of all, to any of you that are listening, Bold has been 100% rewritten. And when I say 100%, what I mean is that we've kept in powerful pieces like mindset. We're never going to get rid of mindset. Right. It's foundational, fundamental. However, the way that we're presenting it is different. We've kept in, obviously, face-to-face conversations. However, how we're presenting it is different. So, Missy, I'm biased because, of course, I've been a Bold coach for a long, long time, and we're really passionate and energized now about the materials. What I'd like to hear from you, though, is you've been in 2 labs. What's different? Because everybody listening wants to know, what's different about Bold? What would you tell them?
Well, first of all, the thing that's most different is it's more about conversations and relationships. And so we're still learning what to say and how to have a conversation and how to use scripts. And it's not just scripting people, it's building relationships and selling that way. It's much different.
Well, and Gary, you know, we're spending massive amounts of money to build our database infrastructure, to protect our database, because it's the one thing. And we can do that all day long, and yet if we're not having a conversation with our database, then it's basically worthless, all that technology. And what I hear you saying is that what you're embracing in Bold is the way that we've now approached. We've gone from lead generation to coming from contribution, and now it's a conversation about adding value to our clients. That's really what you're saying.
Yes. And speaking of database, look, now that you've asked me about Bold, I could talk for 30 minutes. Right?
I'm ready.
So we always hear about how your database is your business. And another favorite thing about Bold Labs 2.0 is that now we're taught how.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Who do we call? When do we call them? And what do we say to them? Instead of just work your database, it's, oh, and here's a system to do it.
You mean a system?
A system.
I think our company is focused on systems. I mean, Millionaire Real Estate Agent is a system and a model. One Thing is a system and a model. Career Visioning is a system and model. It's amazing that Bold is a system and a model. I love that you brought that up. So how have your conversations with your clients been different?
Oh, they've just been so different. I felt like, truthfully, with the old Bold, sometimes I felt pressure to get the contacts in and get the numbers, hit the numbers. And now I feel like I have permission to really engage and dive deep. And there's even a system with conversation pieces. And so I get to ask really engaging questions and build rapport and really just love on the people. And they respond well to that because what they really want is a relationship with me.
Well, and Missy, what you're really talking about is how we've incorporated Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Not a unique model. It's been around for a long, long time. However, what we've done is we've brought that then to the DTD2 system of the Never Ending Referrals program of Steve Schlueter's. And man, we've just mirrored them where I can even see your passion when you're talking about lead generating. You just light up. And it's in no matter if it's a brand new agent or highly experienced agent, they're all loving the fact that now we can have a conversation. Guys that are listening, gals that are listening, this is a conversation. We're having a conversation on Facebook Live. That's all this is. And that's how we're reaching out to people to help them lead generate. So Missy, hold that thought on all that other excitement around Bold. And I'm going to come to Larry. So Larry, you haven't had the opportunity yet to come and experience the new material, yet you've been 7 times. And so obviously Bold has had a huge impact on your business. Tell us about that.
Hey, Pat, can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead.
Okay, so you kind of cut out, but I think what you went to say was I haven't had the experience of the labs. We did, however, have Bold 2.0 recently in Baton Rouge.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. So to mirror some of what Missy said, it's really to the conversations and the relationships that we have with people who know, like, and trust us over years, and how to do that in an informal but yet purposeful way, that we can systematically go through our database and touch everybody on a consistent basis and get results by just being their go-to person and their friend in real estate in their life. They look to us when we come to them in this relationship in a helpful posture. They begin to trust us more, and you know that generates more. It has generated more business for us.
Well, and Larry, you're hitting on something that Gary has been saying, and we heard it down at Mega Camp, and I think we're going to hear it forever. We have to add value to our database. when you see the likes of Amazon and all the things that they're doing, and I'm an Amazon Prime member, I'm trusting you guys probably are as well. I mean, I think the world is. We have to add value to the relationship, and therefore we still are valuable. When we don't add value to the relationship, then our value goes away, and now the whole way we may end up doing real estate is different. And I so love, I had the opportunity last week to be in a room with Gary for a little bit. We're rewriting Bold Leader, and one of the things that Gary always talks about, whether it's agent to client, leadership to agent, company to our leaders, is that you've got to provide value. And when you provide value at a high level, they'll never leave you, and they'll love you, and they'll give you business. And that's really what you're saying about the database.
Yeah, there's no question.
So guys, let me shift gears on you a little bit. And there's a bunch of people that are listening and watching, and will watch later on, and they hear Bold, and they think Bold is so much about business and about lead generating, and they go, well, I got that, I don't need that. And yet I believe Bold is so much more than just about business. In fact, it's transformed my life to an incredibly high level, where I live differently, my family lives differently. Talk to us about how Bold has impacted you personally and or your family. Larry, let's start with you.
Well, just in respect to feeling the ability to incorporate the relationships and stuff that we have with our clients, being able to have interactions with our family, because we've started doing more events and things like that, personal touches and events that we can incorporate into the rest of our life. It's not just strictly business over here, family over there.
Right.
There's lots of ways to integrate those two things. And by working a systematic approach and being purposeful, I do create more time that I can be with my family on purpose.
Well, and Larry, I'm going to pull this out. You didn't say this, however, I got to believe going from, you said 30 deals to 137 deals has allowed you to create a bigger life. And with that creation of a bigger life, you and your family have experienced different things that you might not have otherwise experienced. Am I off base, or is that kind of true?
Oh, no, it's 100% correct. I'll say from a business perspective is we now own 3 rental properties, and I get to go see my 3 grandchildren in Houston, which my wife loves. She's all into that. So we get to do more things, and I can still incorporate these relationships along the way.
Yeah, and I love that. How old are your grandkids?
7, 5, and 2.
Oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
see, what I just did there, just so for y'all just saw the transition, is we're having a conversation about Bold, and Larry brings up family and 3 kids, and it gives grandkids, and it gives me an opportunity to build the relationship through him. And I know you can't all see the screen maybe as light as we wanted to. However, he lit up when he mentioned the age of those 3 grandkids. And that's what really life is about, you guys. So Missy, what would you say from a Bold perspective on you personally, family, those around you?
So my favorite Bold story is I go multiple times because every time I learn that I have a different theme. So my first Bold was kind of my awakening. My second Bold was really financial thermostat. And so after I took my second Bold, I started running in a neighborhood called Summit Lakes.
Okay.
In Norman, Oklahoma. So I would drive from my old house over here, park on the neighborhood, and hope I didn't get kicked out for trespassing and running around the lakes. And also, this is kind of the elite trick-or-treating neighborhood. And so I would get my kids dressed every Halloween and bring them over here and go trick-or-treating. Last October, I stood on my porch in this house in Summit Lakes and passed out candy. I was wearing my Bold socks.
I love it.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I kept my first house, so I have an investment property now.
Anything to do with Bold in that?
Yeah, all of it.
Well, you know what's really cool is we set goals in Bold, and many times, and Gary has said this again, he said this to us, he says it all the time, he says, who gets the best deals in real estate? It's the real estate agents who are looking for them, because we see those deals first. And why in the world shouldn't we own investment property, right? And there's many people who come into Bold without investment property. They don't think they could have investment property, and all of a sudden they walk out and they have, they have investment property, like you guys, have talked about. So, what I'm hearing is Bold is way more than about business.
Absolutely.
It's way more. It's way more.
And you guys have been multiple times, and so I want to have you address this mindset. Imagine we're going to talk about mindset for a second. And Missy, you said old Bold, and we used to call it old Bold, and now we say classic Bold because it sounds so much better. Like old Bold sounds old, so classic Bold.
Vintage.
Vintage, even like that better. So you keep coming back. And so many times I hear people go, well, I did Bold. Hey, I've got it mastered. I did it once. And you said earlier something where you said you were at a different place each time you came to Bold. So why do you keep coming back?
Well, two reasons. One, I am in a different place every time. And like I said, I find that there's always a theme. I took my fifth Bold, my big theme, which you guys will also find in the new Bold. We really focused a lot on calendar and the one thing. And so after I took that Bold, I went to a cabin by myself for 3 days and took flip charts and books and paper and Sharpies and figured out exactly what my best life looks like. What's my one thing in the 7 areas on page 114? And I had never really laser focused on that. And yet that theme kept coming up in my fifth Bold. So I always have a theme, something different. And then the other reason is, Gary Keller once said, why do you guys keep saying back to the basics? Whoever said you could get away from the basics?
Yeah.
I keep taking Bold because I want to get away from the basics. I want to be creative.
I love that. I love that. And I love, you talked about one of the things we've incorporated into Bold are the systems and models that fundamentally as a company we've used to build success, and that is Shift and One Thing, and then the Millionaire Real Estate Agent model. And not that Bold is any of those classes in particular. However, we bring some of the fundamental models, tie them into Bold. One of the things that also Gary has said recently in the Rewrite a Bold, and then again in the Rewrite a Bold Leader this past week is that one of the great things about Bold is it's a vehicle for accountability. And that vehicle for accountability is we can grow ourselves in any area when we're accountable, and that's fundamentally the foundation of Bold. So I love that you brought that up. So Larry, why do you keep coming back? I mean, sometimes I say to people, I keep coming back because I'm not real fast or real sharp. I know that's not the case for you. Why do you keep coming back?
Well, I'm not so sure. To hear something over and over, it's like when I played ball. We did the same thing every day over and over to instill habits and ingrain those processes. This is no different. It's just the basics over and over and over. We get to add stuff into it to like Missy said, creative stuff, but it's always built on top of the foundation.
Yeah, it's always built upon that foundation, right?
Did we lose Larry?
We did. He's back.
Where'd you lose me?
We lost you when you said it was built upon foundation or fundamentals.
Yeah. So, and then what I wrapped up with was Bold is a lifestyle, not an event. And to go on, to repeat it is just doing what I'm supposed to be doing anyway. And I'm building on top of that, the foundation, the building blocks on top of Bold.
Larry, I love that. Can I copy lifestyle, not event, and I'll give you credit?
Sure.
That's awesome, because that's exactly what it is. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of being. It's the choices that we make. And you both have hit on, you're never at the same place, and Bold is never at the same place. And one thing I would add to that conversation is, we now are very nimble and bold. And when you all come, we're doing this incredible launch in October. When you come to the October launch, you're going to see things that Gary talked about at Mega Camp incorporated into Bold in October. You're going to see some incorporation of Command with the new changes incorporated into Bold in October. So the great thing is we get to incorporate these things as they're happening. The other thing I would add here before our last couple of questions is, For those of you that are looking for new systems, new strategies, I will share with you, we're bringing them to Bold. So we're talking with top people like David Huffaker, like Mike Hicks, like Tony Baroni, like the Daily team in Maryland. What we're doing is we're going out to the field. And first of all, the top producers who have been Bold advocates and Bold just, you know, groupies, if you may, they're coming back to us now with the new Bold saying, we want to be all in and we want to share our listing system. We want to share our texting system. And so we don't have all the answers. And so what we're doing is we're bringing those things to Bold, and it's just amazing the results that we're seeing. And so Bold will never be old. It'll never be old, Missy. It's always going to be new. It's going to be fresh. And we just have an incredible team, starting with John Prescott and all of our team in Austin and our course writers and our researchers. And they're all just committed to making sure that we never, ever go backwards with Bold, that always continues to rise. So guys, what else would you say? We're going to get into the last question in just a second. What else would you say is the biggest thing you've taken away from Bold, either from a business perspective or a personal perspective? Like, what's the biggest thing on your life or your business that Bold has impacted? Missy, let's start with you.
That's really hard to answer because it always changes, because I keep coming back for more and learning new things. I think if I had to just make it one major thing, it's just an awareness and a mindset change. I'm grateful for so many things. I look through the lens of adding value. I just get so excited about the whole Bold mindset.
Well, and you mentioned the word awareness, and that's a really big deal when it comes to people have issues, people have challenges. We're all human beings, we're imperfect. And yet when you have this awareness around Bold, you can make changes much quicker and you can make adjustments much quicker, which moves you towards your goals much quicker. So I love that word. Larry, what would you say? Is there one particular, you know, thing that Bold's impacted your business or your life you could point to?
Well, the system, be afraid of the challenge. As we go into Bold and you're able to do more and more, and you can see higher and higher, standing on the shoulders of giants, if you will. Don't be afraid of that. The things and systems that Bold helps you understand, the mindset and the culture around it, will help you navigate through and leverage through all of the challenges that may come across. You're supposed to be going through and building and growing and growing. Growth is painful sometimes.
Well, you know, Larry, we say that you have to have a breakdown in order to have a breakthrough. And we also say you need to invite breakdowns, and people look at us like we're crazy going, I don't want to break down. And it's like, I love breakdowns because I know goodness and greatness is on the other side of the breakdown. So I love that you brought that up. I want to share one.
Can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
And this comes back to, why do I keep taking Bold? I have an obligation.
He was going to say something great.
And then it froze.
Larry, start over. You said you have an obligation, and that's all we heard.
Yeah, and obligation may be a funny word, but to me, I have an obligation as an educator and teacher to people who are just coming into KW or who have never been before. I need to be in the room to share the wisdom that's been given to me.
Larry, you just summarized why I wake up in the morning and do what I do.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. We're given gifts, and boy, we got to use those gifts because we're going to have to answer for them someday. I want to share a quick story, and then I'm going to ask you for your final thoughts. You've talked about awareness. You talked about Bold is bigger than business, and I just want to share a story with you from a Bold room and how Bold is impactful. I had a gentleman in a room. We're not going to say names or locations, so we'll keep it anonymous. However, this gentleman walked into the room in a very difficult place in his relationship with his wife. They had a number of children, let's just say enough to be on one hand, all very young children. And he came into Bold on a path to end that relationship. And you guys, we hear the incredible stories in a Bold room about people going through challenges and hitting ceilings. And he didn't tell us this until step 7, and he didn't tell the whole room. He just came up to me personally, and these stories changed my life. He said, Pat, I was on a path to divorce when I walked into this Bold room. And he said, I have 5 young children. And I sat through the first step of Bold, and I realized Bold was way more than about business, and the second step, and the third step, and the fourth step. And by the end of Bold, Pat, I just want to tell you, not only are we not on a path to divorce, the last 3 weeks of our relationship, based upon how I started looking at myself and how I needed to start treating the others around me, he said, now my relationship is on a completely different track. And he said, I don't know what it's worth. I just know it was worth more than $7.99 that I invested. And so I wanted you to hear that story, ladies and gentlemen, because Bold, and as Bold coaches, I'll tell you, our lives are transformed when we hear those stories. And there's also gratitude for what we've been taught and the gifts that we've been given. So I leave you with that thought as we get our last comments from our incredible panel here, is that Bold is way more about business. Obviously, business drives things, and you need to have income to experience things in life and provide for your family the opportunity that they deserve. And yet it all starts with us, and it starts with who we are and then how we show up in the world. So Larry, what would you leave as a final thought to our folks listening, watching, or listening to the recording later on? What would you find, one final thought?
Wow, one thought, right? I guess just in terms of a platform, Bold is a platform to grow into the things that God has called me to do.
Love that. That is awesome. We're given gifts, right? And we're going to have to answer for those gifts someday. Love that. Thank you, Larry, so much. Missy, what would you share as a final thought?
I would share that I remember struggling when I first started out. In fact, I borrowed money for my first Bold. Thanks, Dad. And the thing is, there are no secrets to success. And Bold has a model and a system for anything that you could be struggling with in your business and your personal life. You just have to do it.
Yeah. And Missy, you share a story, which many do. They sell things, they borrow things, they maybe get scholarships. We have incredible scholarship opportunities. They have to figure out how to get in the room. Rachel Adams, one of our incredible Bold advocates, same deal. You look at how Rachel, where she's come from, she borrowed money, basically begged, pleaded to get money to come into that room. And Aaron Binnick, same deal, came into the room with a negative $34. I mean, the stories are amazing. So before we leave, guys, I also want to give you some opportunities, because you are incredible talent and people are always looking for people in areas to refer people to. So Missy, how would people get in touch with you if they had a referral for you?
So you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Kelly, it's Missy Webb, or you can text me, 405-664-1259.
I love that. That Kelly thing sounds like technology. I swear I've heard that before.
It's really good.
It's really good. Larry, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, yeah, the same formats. Larry Miller, 1111 at kw.com. Kelly is obviously preferred. It helps us track better. And then if somebody called me directly at 225-281.
Oh, no. Larry, you got to do the whole phone number again. We lost the last part.
No, 281-1111.
One more time. 225.
281-1111.
225-281-1111. At least I got it out. There you go. So Larry, Missy, thank you so much for all your time today. For all you watching out in Facebook land, thank you so much. Be bold, guys. Go to the October Bold. We'd love to see you there. Record-breaking October launches. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Be bold. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you. My pleasure.